Hello and welcome to the 5th episode of Around the Court, and today we have with us the people who make PVL 100 times more interesting. Please welcome Manish, Atish and Basak.
Yay! 100 times more. मतलब इतना झूठ कौन बोलता है यार?
Sir, ma'am, you're the voices behind PVL. You ask everyone, but it's time that somebody asks you. How has the experience so far been at PVL?
You know, yeah. Well, I think we should.
Yeah, ladies first always.
Yeah.
Where's your chivalry?
It's right here. Spending too much time with him, I need to like.
Sure.
Sorry.
It's the first time that I've been in India, and I'm really so honored that, and many thanks to the baseline winters and all the guys that having me here. I'm honored to be there to work with my teammates, my colleagues. They're doing really awesome. They're supporting me every time, and I'm learning too much also with their experiences. So I'm really so glad to be there. Thank you so much.
So when I got the call, I was like, volleyball, how will I do this? But Manish and I have worked together for a very long time, and Manish like, tension mat le, ho jayega, dude, kuch na kuch kar lenge. And that's exactly how it's been. We've just learned on the job every day, working together, and it's been a very, very nice experience so far, and hopefully it'll continue as years go by.
Right.
So there are two aspects to it. One is, of course, as professionals, you know, we believe in a lot of prep, and as he said, in fact, she's worked in broadcast as well. We do a lot of preparation. So we make notes and we read about players. That is one. The other is the emotional connect. I'm here in this industry because of the Chief Executive Officer of the league, Mr. Batavia. You know, he brought me into this industry. And I think one of the key reasons why we're here is our post-breakfast addas. तो वो जो अड्डा जमता है, वो actual highlight है. And that sets us up for the evening. So we're all happy, we're all being taken care of very well. And then यार it's like to quote a cliche, it's like a family कि चलो यार चलते एक game देखते हैं और थोड़ी बातें भी हो जाएगी साथ में. That's how we approach.
I agree with that because this is literally the first time I'm working with this crew. I've not worked with them before, and the way they've been and how warm they've been, it's literally been like a rasgulla. They go. I mean, if you are throwing in Bengali references, I might as well do.
She's here. It's got to be baklava.
Oh.
I think we've covered almost India and Turkey both.
Correct.
So it's time
Correct.
to move on to the next question.
Right.
Basak, you've been a player yourself, you're a former player, and now you've come to India seeing Prime Volleyball League happen. And you've covered almost throughout the world. How different is PVL, and how do you see this league progress in the years to come?
I'm really so happy to see the youngsters here, how they're growing, how they're taking support from the coaches also, and until that moment that they have just a short time for the preparations, and preparation is the most important thing, as physically and mentally. So those are the guys like heroes. With this tension, with this kind of a great battles, if you're an athlete, if you're a sportsman, if you're a volleyball player, it would be started maybe much more before. So those are the things that they're really creating a good teamwork. They're supporting each other, rubbing shoulders with the foreign and also youngsters. That is really something. And what I see here, you have a huge potential for volleyball industry, for volleyball ecosystem. Those are the names that I'm always telling while we are commentating during the pre-shows, also while we are talking to each other. They have a great potential to go abroad and have a chance also earn money and everything. Those are the things that I'm seeing. I am really so happy and proud of the Prime Volleyball League for the youngsters. Also the foreigners who come from abroad and the feeling like in the team and supporting all the young guys.
I think that's a great motivation for our players who are playing in the PVL. Atish and Manish, obviously, when you're in the sports industry, it's a given that you're passionate about sports. How did you come into the sports broadcasting industry? If you can tell that journey, Manish.
You want to start? Yeah.
So, you know, मेरी त्वचा देख के मेरी उम्र का पता नहीं चलता. लेकिन my career started way back in 2005. I'm a product, or you can say a byproduct, of a reality show on ESPN Star. It was called The Close-Up Dream Job Harsha Ki Khoj.
जो बचपन में मैं देखता था.
Correct. ठीक
So
है.
that was a show to get the next.
It was a hunt for the next Harsha Bhogle, essentially.
Okay.
And I was a contestant on that show, and I was fortunate enough to be in the top 6 All India, and I lost. So I'll cut a long story short. It's a very long story. It's probably one of my favorite stories that I can share. I lost and I was walking out the dimly lit corridors of Eagle Studios in Noida. And बच्चा था तो थोड़ा आंसू थे आँख में. And Joy Bhattacharya was standing there. He was at that point he was head of programming at ESPN Star. And Wasim Akram was standing there as well because he was one of the judges of that show. So Joy like क्या हो बेटा? I said sir हार गया सब खत्म हो गया मेरा career ये वो. He's like अरे show खत्म हुआ है career थोड़ी खत्म हुआ है. I'll give you a job. Don't worry. Young man, here's my card. So I was such an idiot. I said, हाँ लेकिन करना क्या होगा? What he meant was तू पागल हो गया है? तेरे को job दे रहा है तू पूछ रहा है क्या करना होगा? I said, oh sorry. Joy said नहीं don't worry. And cut to I kept calling Joy because he told me तू मेरे को हर हफ्ते call कर मैं तेरे को नौकरी दूंगा. Anyway, after multiple calls, following up, every time he'd reassure me कि तू चिंता मत कर मैं तेरे को नौकरी दूंगा ESPN में. Promise कर दिया तो करूँगा. This was I'm talking about Jan 2005. And in the month of May, one fine morning, I get an email from Joy with the subject calling Manish. He said, Manish, I've lost your number. I have something for you. Call me right now. And then cut to the 1st of August, I moved to Delhi and joined ESPN Star. That's how my career started. So Sony has been very kind as well. We just did the Olympics and the Euros for them. We've been doing European football for them as well. Atish has been a part of the team as well. Australian Open, recently. And here we are. So, personally, I've been very lucky and fortunate that I've met some really good people, starting with Joy, who I was a nobody. I never went to a media school, no mass comm, nothing. And he must have seen something when he said, "मैं तेरे को नौकरी दूंगा." And he delivered. He fulfilled that promise. And so I cannot ever be grateful enough to Joy. So yeah, lucky.
And he's the CEO of Prime Volleyball League now.
Yep.
So life comes full circle, as you can say. Atish,
So for
you can
me,
say
it's
also.
my career is relatively recent. I was in third year of college and I was a confused child to do. Sometimes I thought I wanted to be an environmental filmmaker. One day I thought to be a lawyer. But then suddenly my dog had gone for a walk one day and with him came my neighbors. And one of them happens to be this guy called Devayan Sen, who is a commentator now, works with ESPN and stuff like that. So he just came up because he liked our dog and he said, your dog is really cute, and they sat for dinner and he told us what he did. And he was doing commentary for India versus Bayern Munich. It was Baichung Bhutia's last match. And I said, bhai, mujhe to sports bada pasand hai. He's like, theek hai, aaja. So he just took me as an intern to the PCR there, where the coverage was happening from. And I was like, damn, this is what I want to do. So he was doing commentary, I was in the PCR. Just seeing things, I was seeing with graphics. So I was like, cool. So now I want to do this only because I got swayed every time. Then I did my postgrad from Bombay, from Xavier's. Then I did a few internships with Extra Innings T20. Did an internship with starsports.com. Got a few jobs behind the scenes, just like him. Worked for Neo for a bit. Worked with Star Sports for about 5 years. There I started learning commentary with colleagues because I pushed people saying, sikha do. And eventually I just went freelance. And since then, it's just been that. And that was in August 2019. So ever since then, I've been fending for myself.
And what I can assure you is that people love to hear you on TV, and
Thank you.
guys are great. That's the bottom line.
Thank you.
But Basak has been covering volleyball all over the world. You guys have been covering basically every sport that happens on Indian TV. How different is volleyball? How exciting is it to cover volleyball?
Yeah, as I said earlier, and I alluded to the fact that we do a lot of preparation. We love making notes. We are obsessed about prep.
Right.
If you see our notes, you go crazy. Having worked on a variety of sports, and Atish has and Basak has as well, every time you do a broadcast, you keep referring to your notes when you're doing commentary. If you're not on camera, you keep looking down at your notes. With volleyball, there is no time. You can make 1,000 notes, there is no time to look down. The pace of the sport is such. I say it on air, if you blink, you'll miss a huge part of the story.
Right.
You don't know what's going to happen when it's so fast paced. Volleyball is the fastest sport I have worked on in my 16-year career now. Just the pace at which the action happens. We worked on a lot of other exciting sports. Cricket allows you time to breathe. There are long pauses. There are no pauses here. Of course, every story has its own flavor. Cricket has its own speed. Football, Atish and I have done a lot of football together. That has its own charm, and as a Bengali, you would know as well. But volleyball's pace, the speed is truly unmatched. And so we've got to be alert. We can't look away. Our phones are kept away. We can't keep. Ideally, you should never check your WhatsApp while on broadcast. It's always on flight mode. But what I'm trying to say is you cannot afford to get distracted. You can't go left, right, because your eyes have got to be on the monitor, not even on court. On the monitor, which is which is what's going out to the world as well. So we've got to keep talking to pitchers.
It's a great sport to watch. Terrible for the throat.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible for the throat.
Yeah.
I'm functioning on 60% right now, I think.
Good for the heart though. Good for the heart.
Great for the heart because it keeps it racing.
But we are from Kolkata Thunderbolts, and one man that has made news, and you guys are like played a huge role in making the news in Kolkata, back in Kolkata.
Hang on. Hang on. I know the name.
Is it Mr. Patodia you're talking about? Yeah, we came prepared for this.
Mr. Patodia, just for the record, okay, these are our own sunglasses. These are not from the fancy brands that you wear. But I love the fact that he enjoys himself, he expresses himself. He's a delight to watch.
I feel like I should continue wearing
In
this.
the stands.
Better.
Yes, that is little Patodia.
Sir, if you want to give me one of your 17 shades that you have, I'd be more than happy to accept one.
No, but he's fun. He adds his own flavor to the broadcast, and every time they cut to him, we have a party. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I heard that, and I talked with him that he's always, when turning back from the games, he's always watching the games.
Right.
We have to say thank you to the all owners and the supporters and sponsors.
So, Mr. Patodia, I think you need to maybe do a league in Kolkata after this is over.
Okay, maybe there is something in the pipeline already.
Ooh, you heard it first here, guys. You heard it first here.
But Basak, how is the Indian fame? How are you coping up with the Indian fame? Because you're on newspapers, you're on TV news, interviews happening all day. How is the Indian fame treating you?
Yeah, thank you so much, all the guys who wants to share time with me and asking for me what's happening here and what you did before and everything. I really appreciate it, and also they're my colleagues, so I would like to tell every details to them also. Thank you for this.
I am sure there are a lot of people who want to work in this industry. There are a lot of sports lovers, people who are passionate about sports basically. If they want to work in this industry or be closely associated with it, what are your two prime tips for them, for all the sports lovers?
So firstly, I don't think I'm personally qualified enough to give people gyan on what to do, but I'm going to pass on borrowed knowledge. And the essence of that is that you've got to enter the industry for the right reasons. If you are entering the industry for 10 million Facebook followers or whatever, and for a lot of money, then you are in it for the wrong reasons. So the reason has to be right. You've got to, again, it's a very cliche word these days, passion. Everybody has passion. But I think it's the degree of passion that decides what you will do. Don't straight away aim to become the next Harsha Bhogle, because that will never happen. It will never happen anyway. So I suppose what might help is, now that things are far more democratic, digital allows people to do their own content. You are a creator as well back in Bengal, and I'm sure you'll do very well pan India as well. It's an open. There's no one stopping you, right? It's not like you're reliant on 1 or 2 or 3 platforms. You can do your own content. That's a good start. Also, if you can somehow get into a channel or a digital platform, be prepared to do the hard yards behind the scenes. That really helps. I mean, even when you're doing this interview, we're also, and I'm sure Atish is on the same page, we're also thinking about what you're trying to ask, what the content should be, what should we be giving, what the camera cuts are going to be like, etc. So the producer in us will never die. I have worked for 8 years behind the scenes before getting into anchoring full time. And it helps me immensely. It helps us bail out our producer if there is ever a crisis. I'd like to believe we are a little bit easier to work with because we come prepared. When I prepare for commentary or anchoring, I prepare like a producer, not like a commentator. So those are the few things. Like I said, it's more democratic. Go out there, create your own content every day. It's okay to get it wrong a million times, but if you have it in you and if you work hard enough, yeah.
I completely agree with that, because being a producer before just helps you in terms of the content that you want to put across. Look, at the end of the day, there are a few people making this thing together in unison. We may be the faces of it, but you need to make sure you do justice to that EBS guy sitting there, the graphics man, the director, the producer, even to the runner who's coming and giving you that coffee. You need to do justice to his hard work. It all boils down to you. So you need to put your best foot forward, and for that you need to prepare. You need to know what's going on behind the scenes. If you don't know what's happening in the PCR, because there's a lot of chaos there, then you won't be used to it when you're in front of the camera. a person, because you have something in your ear, right, and you're getting instructions and you're told what to say and what to do. If you don't know what's going on there, how will you be okay with all that chaos when you have to be on screen? So it's very, very important to know and do the hard yards behind the scene. And the second one is a little flimsy, but if you like to party and if you like to go out, you will have no weekends. Be prepared to have no weekends, because unfortunately sports means weekends, means you will have no life,
very important.
right? Just be prepared for that. It will take a toll personally in terms of socializing and things like that. You'll have to find time for families because you're always traveling or you're in a bubble these days. So those are the sacrifices that you may have to make in order to make the grade.
Very true.
I would like to add some kind of things that, yes, the training session and the teamwork, those are the many key moments at backstage also. If you know really well what's happening backstage, that you have to be much passionate about those guys, and you are on the camera, so you feel that responsibility to them also. But while we're looking as an individual, as a commentator, as a host, as a presenter, we have to be prepared about our communication skills. Those are the things because we are some kind of a bridge between the athletes and between the viewers. So we have to choose the right words, and we have to feel this empathy with the athletes. What is going there? Yes, the preparation is so important. This is what means athletes are doing trainings and those workouts. So they're doing that kind of preparation, and this is the time on the court that we have now in the semi-finals, finals, or during this league. They are trying to show themselves after those many hours trainings. So we have to look in that way. We have to work on communication skills, try to make empathy, and those are the things that are so important.
Be prepared to invest at least half a decade to get in. It is not going to happen overnight. We're all still work in progress. That's the kind of work ethic that we try to imbibe. We make mistakes. We can have bad days. We can make absolute bloopers on air, and all of us have done that. But invest the first 5-7 years to get going, and it may or may not happen. But yeah, that's your best shot, I suppose.
Those are like really valuable and advices from the men who make it happen.
And the
woman. And the woman, absolutely. But before we end, this is the first season of Prime Volleyball League, UP Prime Volleyball League. Where do you see this league maybe 3 years down the line?
Wow.
Because you've witnessed it from very close quarters, right from match.
It's tough to say, but more teams for starters. More teams, more players. I was at the auction, I hosted the auction, and I saw over 400 names came up for bidding. And I'm sure even from those who did not make it, I'm sure there are many absolute gems waiting to be discovered. And I'm very sure, Basak keeps telling us, the FIVB, the International Volleyball Federation, will look at the innovations that this league has made in terms of 15-point sets and the super point and so on, and the super serve, which is worth 2 points. So I think the ingredients are very much there. We've had a great delicacy in the first year, and it's only going to get better and better. I'm very confident. From 7 teams, we will go up to a much bigger number of teams, and hopefully a women's league someday.
That would be interesting.
Please do it. What you're doing is really awesome. It's like we can see that, we can look that point of view. It's like baby step right now. So we want to see this baby grown up. Those are the things that the viewers also just understand. What is volleyball? Just Manish and Atish and I just trying to give them some information. Also the other commentators who are also the players. Thank you to all of them also. So that will be the starting point, and we need some kind of consistency and the sustainability. We are all talking about for the players, and we have to talk about for the organization also. I think it will grow up, and I have friends from Turkey asking how can come there to play. And also, yes, for sure that
is a win.
This is what they had no idea before, and after this one month with what I'm sharing also, talking with them also, I started to talk with the managers also. Just please look, there are the guys that have that kind of a potential. They can be everywhere. maybe some can play in Poland, some play in France, some play in Turkey. So we have to be not just a bridge between the viewers and the players and the coaches and the teams. Also, for sure, believe in me, I will try to be a bridge between the managers and
Nice.
the players. This is what I promise. Yeah, because I believe what you're doing here, what the players are, great effort. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Basak. I think that's going to give our players like a lot of confidence going
Yeah.
forward. And
So when we first came here, the first day when we were having our meeting, Joy very clearly said this league is about the players, right? It's about developing players. It's about developing a brand of volleyball never seen before. You talk to anybody like a Matthew August or a David Lee, they come in and say, what are these lights? What is this masala? How is this glitz and glamour is a volleyball scene in a very different avatar. That's you also
What
then.
kind of a production is this? I'm
I mean,
talking
it has
with
not
Misha.
happened before.
It's
Yeah.
like quality, like NBA. It's really like
Correct.
this.
It's great quality. That's one. I mean, no disrespect to the Indian coaches, but what I would like to see in season 2 and forward, if it's about developing the players, maybe getting more foreign coaches from more pro leagues, just to develop that Indian talent, so that what you're talking about, that they need to go abroad and be in leagues. So why not get them here first,
Yes, for sure.
develop a few more talents, and then push them there?
I think that's a yeah.
So maybe that's the next step. Encourage owners to get in more foreign coaches to develop that young Indian talent, so that tomorrow they can be world class not only in those European leagues, but the Indian volleyball team would be one to beat, right? That's what we want eventually, and I guess those are the little baby steps in that right direction.
Thank you so much for your time. But before we end this, I think some valuable points have been added, and the audience are going to love it when they watch it. But before we end it, we are from Kolkata Thunderbolts. We are a team from Bengal, and we are not going to leave you before you guys say something in Bangla.
Khel be Bangla, jeet be Bangla.
Now, this is what Manish was saying also. He is always prepared. So, Khel Be Bangla, Jeet Be Bangla is basically we are here to play and we are
Correct.
here to play to win. So, that's what it means. But we'll appreciate if you can say something else as well.
Oh, it's so long. Ami Tumaki, Palo, Kashi.
That is for you, Kolkata, from the 3 people who make it happen. But before we end it, one message for our Kolkata audience, the people who are watching it from Kolkata.
Yeah, you know, with my mother is born in Bengal, so I have a soft corner for your state. I love Bengal. I absolutely love Kolkata. Every time I go to Kolkata for work, I go on these walks and I look around and I'm like, yaar, ye alag duniya hai. Ye शहर कुछ और है. It has that kind of vibe. So I have that soft corner for Kolkata and Bengalis. Lovely language as well. When it comes to being passionate, you don't have to tell Bengalis anything. It's there. It's in their DNA. So they have embraced cricket, football as well, and the other sports. And I am very confident that the same love and affection and madness will be on offer for the Thunderbolts from Kolkata as well. And may Mr. Patodia have a million more reasons to buy a billion different pairs of sunglasses.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
I love Park Street. I love walking down Park Street. The Salt Lake Stadium is always brimmed with people whenever there's an East Bengal Mohan Bagan match. Hopefully in the next few years, it'll be filled up for a Kolkata Thunderbolts game. And that's the aim, right? For all of you. And there'll be a lot of bling powered by Mr. Patodia in the stadium. But I'm really looking forward to it because see, Bengal is a state that has a sporting culture, let's be frank. With the Eden Garden and the Salt Lake Stadium. And then it's also got a lot of music and food, and I also have like a tiny house in Corunamoi.
Oh.
So obviously there's a little bit of a Bengali connection happening here. But yeah, all the best to the Kolkata Thunderbolts, all the best to their fans, and inshallah you guys will get continued success ahead.
Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, I couldn't be in there yet.
Hopefully soon,
Yes,
very soon.
yeah, hopefully soon. And what I want to tell about the team, you're doing really an amazing job. Thank you for your efforts and everything. And for the audiences and for the viewers, please don't take your eyes and don't take your hands on the team. They need your support, and with
Yeah.
that kind of a support, they will grow up with the confidence. That's the thing that
Thank
I
you
would like to
so,
say.
so much. That was amazing. Thank you for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure, Manish.
Thank you.
Basak.
Thank
you. Thank you.
That was Around the Court
Thank you.
episode 5. Thank you so much.